I used my daughter's loyalty points to book a family vacation because points do belong to anyone. She cancelled the trip from another state. I used my daughter's loyalty points to book a family vacation, and I honestly didn't think she'd make such a big deal about it. I know how that sounds written out like that, but please actually read the context before everyone decides I'm some cartoon villain. I'm 59, my husband Robert is 61. We have 2 kids, Megan 30 and Ryan 26. Megan is the successful one, corporate job, travels constantly, very organized, very private. Ryan is married, his wife is Emily, 27, and they have a little boy who's almost 3. We've always been the kind of family where what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. Or at least I thought we were. My central belief has always been, when you're family, what's yours should be available to the family when someone needs it. I don't mean I go around emptying people's wallets, I mean we share. We've helped both kids with college, car down payments, letting them live at home rent-free, etc., and in return sometimes they help us with things like tech stuff, flights, whatever. That's just what family is to me. So Megan's job has her flying all over the place, New York, Chicago, London, everywhere. She's in some kind of consulting tech role. I couldn't explain exactly what she does, but I know it means a ton of work travel. Because of that, she's been racking up airline miles and hotel points for years. She talks about status levels and upgrades and whatever. It's like a game to her. A few years ago, when Robert's mother passed away, we had to fly last minute. Flights were insane. Megan very kindly used some of her points to book our tickets to the funeral. That's the context. She has used her points for family before. No issue, she even joked once, "Honestly, I'll never use all of these, they just keep piling up." Fast forward to this spring. Robert and I have been talking for years about taking a big family vacation before we get too old, his words, not mine. Nothing ever worked out. Money, schedules, then COVID, then Ryan and Emily had the baby. It felt like time was just slipping away. One afternoon in March, I was on our old family laptop trying to book a flight to visit my sister. The browser had all these saved logins, and one of them was for the airline Megan usually flies. She had logged in on our computer a while back to help me book a ticket using her corporate discount. Every time I struggle with booking flights or online stuff, she just sighs and does it herself. So her account was saved. I clicked it by accident at first. I'll be honest, I was curious, so I stayed. Up popped her profile, her name, status level, some high one, and then the points balance, 327,000 miles. I actually said out loud, "Oh my God." I had no real concept of how many miles a normal person has, but that number looked huge. I googled what can you get with 300,000 airline miles, and it's like international trips, business class, multiple tickets. Thousands of dollars worth easily. My immediate thought, and I know some people will jump on this, was, those points are just sitting there. She travels constantly, she'll earn more. Meanwhile, we've never had a real family trip. Ever, not something big, not somewhere special. It wasn't like I was looking at her bank account. These were loyalty points, freebies the airline gives her because the company pays for flights. That's how I've always understood it. She didn't pay cash for them, they're a side perk of her job, like free coffee in the office or something. I didn't think it was the same as money. And again, we're family. We've spent decades supporting her. College tuition, books, letting her move back home rent-free for a while after grad school, co-signing her first car lease, helping with deposits. After everything we've done for her, it honestly didn't occur to me that using some of her points for a family experience would be this massive offense. I started playing around with the booking site. Pure curiosity at first. I put in dates in July, plugged in our city, and for fun I put Honolulu as the destination. A dream trip. I wanted to see how far the points would go. Well, it covered most of it. Flights for me, Robert, Ryan, Emily, and even a lap infant ticket for their baby, plus a return. About 250,000 miles for the flights alone. There were even options for using miles towards hotels. My heart was pounding. I felt like I had stumbled onto this golden opportunity for something amazing. I called Robert into the room. "Look at this," I said, showing him the screen. "Megan has over 300,000 miles. We could actually do Hawaii for all of us. The flights would be practically free. We'd just pay some fees and maybe a bit toward the hotel." Robert frowned a little. "Is that her account?" "Yes, but they're just points," I said. "She has more than enough and she can always earn more." He sort of shrugged, non-committal. "Have you talked to her about it?" I felt annoyed at that. If I ask her, she'll overthink it, say she had some plan, make it complicated. She always does. It'll become this whole thing. I was only trying to help everyone have a chance to go. This is a one-time thing, it's not like I'm draining her savings. He hesitated. I don't know, honey, it's still her account. We're family, I said, and she literally used her miles to fly us to your mother's funeral without batting an eye. She told me she'd never use them all. These points don't really belong to anyone, they're just there, going to waste. I'm doing something nice for everyone. He's not confrontational, he said, as long as you talk to her, in that tone where he isn't really pushing it. I interpreted that as he's fine with it. Then I made my big mistake. I let my excitement take over common sense. I called Ryan and Emily that evening on FaceTime. You guys busy the second week of July? I asked. Ryan said, why? Suspicious immediately because I'm usually asking them to help with yard work. Don't make any plans, I said, smiling. We are finally doing our big family vacation. I found a way to get us all to Hawaii. Emily's eyes went huge. Ryan literally shouted, no way. The baby started mimicking him, yelling, way, and everyone was laughing. They asked a bunch of questions, how, what, where. I said something like, we have some miles and options and I've worked it out, just trust me. I did not explicitly say I'd be using Megan's miles, I just said we and the family. Maybe that was wrong, but I didn't want them worrying about cost. I would cover the hotel difference and activities, so it wasn't like Megan was paying for everything anyway. Over the next week I went into full planner mode. If you're a mom, you understand. I had Pinterest boards, I watched YouTube videos on Maui versus Oahu, I read about luau's and snorkeling and family-friendly beaches. Hawaii has always been a dream of mine, but we could never justify the cost. Using the miles I booked. Round-trip flights for all of us non-stop to Honolulu. Inter-island flight to Maui for a couple days. A hotel on Waikiki partially covered with miles. Megan had some hotel points linked. I assumed they worked the same way as airline miles. A rental minivan. A luau reservation for one night, paid with my card. A dolphin snorkel excursion, also on my card, got a refundable option. Altogether, I used about 260,000 miles and a chunk of hotel points. I put about $1,800 of our own money down for taxes, fees and activities, so I truly did not feel like I was just taking from Megan. In my mind, I was leveraging a resource that was otherwise sitting unused to create a memory for all of us, and contributing our own money too. I started telling people, my sister, my friends from church, the neighbor I walk with, we're finally doing Hawaii with the kids and the grandbaby. I was proud. After years of scrimping and working and putting our kids first, we were getting this magical family moment. I will admit, a part of me was really looking forward to showing Megan that she could loosen up and actually enjoy something instead of always working. She's very rigid, has schedules, spreadsheets, boundaries. She's always been like that, even as a teenager, so I thought if I present this as a done deal, as a gift, she'll be forced, in a good way, to take time off, put her laptop away and have fun. The only thing I did with Megan at this point was send her a text. Don't make plans for the second week of July. Family thing. Smiling face with smiling eyes. She replied, I already might have a conference that week. What's going on? I didn't want to explain over text. We'll talk this weekend, just hold off booking anything for now. She responded with, I can't just hold off like that, Mom. My schedule is planned months in advance. I ignored the tone because I knew if I got into it via text, it would turn into a fight. I decided to call her that Saturday when she'd have more time. In hindsight, stupid, I should have just told her immediately, but I wanted it to be a good conversation. Saturday comes, she's in Denver for work or one of those places I can't keep track. We FaceTime. She looks tired in a hotel room with that generic artwork behind her. What's this about July? She asks. I take a deep breath, excited. Okay, don't get mad at me for not telling you sooner, but I wanted to make sure everything was booked before I said anything. We're going to Hawaii, all of us. You, me, your dad, Ryan, Emily, the baby, second week of July. I used your miles so the flights are covered and... She cuts me off. You used my what? Your miles, I say like it's obvious. Your airline points, you had tons just sitting there and... You used my points without asking me. Her face changed so fast, from surprise to this cold, flat look. My stomach dropped a little because that's exactly what I didn't want, drama. I tried to stay upbeat. I used them for the family, Megan. I didn't think you would object, we're family. You have more than enough and you can earn more with all your work travel. It's not like I stole money or something, they're just loyalty points. She closed her eyes for a second like she was counting to 10. How many points did you use? I don't remember the exact number, I said, suddenly feeling defensive. A couple 100,000 maybe. You had over 300,000 and some hotel points, there's still some left. 200,000, her voice climbed. Do you have any idea how long it took me to earn those? Your company paid for those flights, I pointed out. The points are just a perk, they weren't out of your paycheck. And we're using them for something we'll all enjoy, not like I'm flying off to Paris with my girlfriends. That doesn't make them yours. She was actually shaking her head like she couldn't believe it. Mom, those are my points, that is my account. You logged in and just helped yourself. I have helped myself, I've helped all of us, I said. I was doing something nice for everyone. I honestly thought you'd be grateful. After everything I've done for you, paying for your school, your car, letting you live here rent-free when you started this job, I didn't think you'd actually care about some points. Her eyes flashed. This is not about the money value. This is about you going into my personal account and making huge decisions without telling me. You don't get to do that. I am 30 years old, not a teenager. You can't just decide how to spend what I earn. I felt my hackles go up. You always make everything about your independence, Megan. We're family, families share. You've used your miles for us before without making a big show about it. Because I offered, she snapped. That's the difference, I offered, you didn't ask. You would have just said no, I blurted. You hoard everything and you never relax, I know you. You would have said you needed them for something else or that you're too busy to go. So I skipped the argument and went straight to the good part where we're all in Hawaii having fun. I was trying to avoid a fight. She actually laughed, but not in a nice way, by going behind my back. I did not go behind your back. I used the information you gave me. You logged into that account on our computer and said, just leave it, it's easier this way. You can't act like I hacked anything. I thought it was still fine to use. You never said, by the way, don't touch this. She rubbed her eyes. I can't do this right now. I have a client dinner in 20 minutes. We'll talk about this later. But I'm telling you now, I am not okay with you booking things with my points without my permission. Would you really cancel a whole family trip over this? I asked, incredulous. Over some points you didn't even pay for. I'm not saying I'll cancel anything yet, she said carefully. I'm saying we need to discuss it like adults. I have to go. And she hung up. I sat there fuming, but also sure that once she cooled down she'd see reason. I mean, it's Hawaii. Who cancels Hawaii? I spent the rest of the day daydreaming about us lounging by the pool, the baby splashing around, getting sunset family photos on the beach, all of it. I told myself Megan is always like this initially. She overreacts, calms down, then usually comes around. The next morning I'm making coffee and my phone buzzes. It's an email from the airline. Your reservation has been cancelled. I thought it was a scam at first, then another email, your hotel reservation has been cancelled. One after another, 4, 5, 6 emails. My heartbeat literally spiked. I logged into the airline app. The entire itinerary I had painstakingly built. Gone, same with the hotel, all listed as cancelled at customer request. Miles refunded to the account. Some of the hotel points refunded, some turned into some weird credit. My hands were shaking. I knew immediately who had done it. I called Megan, straight to voicemail, called again. Third call she answered, voice clipped. I'm in a meeting break, so make this quick, she said. How could you do that? I exploded. You cancelled the whole trip from another state. Do you have any idea how humiliating that is? I've told everyone about it. She cut me off. I cancelled reservations you made in my name with my account without my consent. Yes, that is entirely within my rights. Within your Megan, this wasn't just about you. This was our family vacation. Your brother Emily, the baby, your father. Everyone was counting on this. You didn't just cancel flights, you ruined months of planning. I had the luau booked, the excursions. You should not have done any of that without talking to me, she said evenly. She sounded so calm it made me even angrier, like I was the crazy one. You made commitments on my dime and assumed I'd eat it. You didn't pay for it, I shouted. I knew she'd latch on to that, but I couldn't stop myself. Your company did, those points are extras. This was for all of us, including you. You didn't lose anything. Are you listening to yourself? She asked, voice still maddeningly steady. You seriously believe that because my employer paid for the flights that earned those miles, anyone in the family gets to spend them however they want? Do you realize how insane that sounds? Don't call me insane, I snapped. That is disrespectful. I was trying to do something nice. I put our own money down too, you know. I'm out almost $2,000 now because you yanked the rug out from under us. You chose to put your card down for non-refundable activities and then tell everyone about a trip I hadn't agreed to, she said. That was your choice. I didn't ask you to do that. I didn't even know about it. You are punishing your entire family over some stupid points, I said, voice breaking. Do you have any idea how excited Ryan was? How excited I was? After years of sacrificing for you kids, I finally thought we'd have something special and you just… My throat closed up. You humiliated me. I told everyone we were going to Hawaii. Now I look like a liar. She was quiet for a beat. Then, I'm not responsible for what you told other people without talking to me. That's not on me. You could have talked to me too, I shot back. Instead you sneak off onto your app and cancel everything, from another state, no discussion, no compromise, just, screw you, Mom. Because it was already done, she said, and now there was an edge to her voice. You put me in a position where you had made huge decisions involving my account, my resources, my time, and then told me after the fact like I should be grateful. The only power I had left was to undo it, so I did. I'm not going to reward boundary violations. I am your mother, I said. Do not talk to me about boundaries like I'm some stranger. We're family. That's exactly the problem, she said tightly. You treat family like it's a magic word that means you get full access to my life. You don't. I'm allowed to have things that are mine. I felt like she'd slapped me. So what, I said bitterly, you think of me as some kind of thief now. I think you made a choice to go into my private account and use a six-figure amount of points I earned without a conversation, she said. If that was a bank account instead of an airline account, people would be calling it stealing. It's not a bank account, I insisted. It's points, that's what none of you seem to understand. The airline literally gives them away, it's not real money. She let out a disbelieving sound. Those points can be converted into thousands of dollars of flights and hotels, that's value. Just because it's not cash in a checking account doesn't make it meaningless. I was crying at this point, which I hate. I just wanted one trip, I said. One last big trip before your father's knees give out and the baby is too big to be cute on the beach. I wanted us all together. I thought you'd see it as me trying to bring the family together. Not this. There was a long silence. Then Mugun said more quietly, you could have had that, Mom, you really could have. If you had come to me and said, hey, I know you have a lot of points. Would you be willing to use some of them for a family trip we'd pitch in too? I probably would have said yes, or at least we could have negotiated something. Instead, you decided for me, and then you're angry I took that decision back. I didn't want to fight, I whispered. And now we're having the mother of all fights, she said. Look, I need to go back into my meeting. I'm really upset. I need some space to think about all this. So that's it, I snapped. You just destroy our vacation and walk away. The only thing I destroyed was the illusion that you can treat my accounts like community property, she said. I'll call you this weekend. She hung up. I sat at the kitchen table with all my printed itineraries spread out and just subbered. I felt blundered, betrayed even. I had envisioned Mugun being stressed at first, but I never in a million years imagined she'd go nuclear and cancel the whole thing. Who does that to their own family? I had to go tell Robert. He was in the garage Putkung. I went out red-eyed and said she cancelled it. He blinked. What? The whole trip, all the flights, hotel. She luggered in and cancelled everything from Denver. We're not going to Hawaii anymore. He just stared. Why would she do that? Because she cares more about her precious points than her own family, I snapped, feeling that raw unfairness rage. I told you she's selfish, this proves it. He sighed. Did you explain to her that we were all going? Yes, I said, she doesn't care. Ryan and Amelie came over that night for dinner. I decided to get ahead of it. So, I said heavily once we were all seated, I have some bad news about Hawaii. Ryan immediately frowned. What? Don't tell me Dad's knee. Mugun cancelled the trip, I said. I let my voice shake a little. She luggered into her account from Denver and cancelled all the reservations I made. We're not going anymore. Amelie's fork clinked against her plate. She cancelled. Why would she do that? Because I used her airline points, I said. She got mad and decided she'd rather let them sit there than share them with her family. So she punished all of us instead of just talking like an adult. Rowan's face went red. Are you kidding me, after how excited we were, after you told us to block off that week? That is so like her. Amelie was quieter, thinking. Wait, she said slowly. You used her miles, did she say she was okay with that? I felt defensive immediately. We're family, I didn't think I needed some formal written permission. She's used them for us before, she even said once she'd never use them all. I was trying to do something nice for everyone, including her. Amelie, in that cautious way polite people have when they're trying to ask something uncomfortable, said, But did you actually ask her this time? Before you booked everything? I hated how everyone kept focusing on that. I texted her to keep the week free, I said, and I planned to tell her once I'd made sure it all worked out. I didn't think she'd actually care. Those points were just sitting there, she has more than enough. So that's a no, Rowan said, you didn't ask. She's always so difficult about plans, I said, exasperated. If I'd asked first, she'd have said no out of habit. If I tried to talk about using the points, she'd make a spreadsheet and grill me like I'm some stranger. I wanted it to be a happy surprise. Rowan shook his head. Well, she ruined it, classic Muggan. Everything has to be on her terms, she doesn't care about anyone else's feelings. Exactly, I said, feeling vindicated. Amelie still looked uneasy. I get that you were trying to do something nice, she said carefully. But airline miles are kind of valuable. It's like money, just in a different form. I'd be upset too if someone used that many of my points without asking. They're just points, I insisted. It's not like it came out of her checking account. That many points is probably worth a couple $1,000, Amelie said gently. I only know because my sister's a flight attendant and she's always explaining this stuff. To Muggan, that probably feels like you spent a few thousand of her money. Robert, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. Did you really use that many? I told her she had over 300,000, I said. I used about 260,000 for flights and some hotel, she still has some left. Robert winced. That is a lot, honey. You were fine with it before, I snapped, feeling ganged up on. I said you should talk to her, he reminded me. I thought you had, I didn't realize you made all the bookings without clearing it with her. I suddenly felt very outnumbered. After everything I have done for that girl, I said, tears in my eyes again, now I'm being treated like I stole from her. Like I'm some criminal for using a password she gave me to book a family trip with points that cost her nothing. Does no one see how crazy that is? Rowan reached over and squeezed my hand. I see it, Mom, she's being ridiculous. She'd rather hoard miles than spend a week with her nephew in Hawaii. It says everything. Amelie didn't say anything, but she definitely did not look like she agreed. Over the next few days, word trickled out through the family grapevine. My sister, who I had gushed to about Hawaii, called to ask what happened. I told her as neutrally as I could that Muggan had flipped out over me using her miles and cancelled the whole thing. My sister said, but did she give you permission to use them? Everyone kept zeroing in on that like it's the only factor. I gave the same explanation. We're family, the points were just sitting there, I was planning a trip for all of us, I didn't think asking was necessary. So no, she said. I got defensive. Why is everyone acting like I broke into a bank? She left the login saved on our computer, she never said I couldn't touch it. That's not the same thing as permission, my sister said gently. If one of your friends did this to you, you'd be furious. But she's not one of my friends, she's my daughter, I said. Your children are different. I have supported her for 30 years. I've earned some say in how our family resources get used. Her miles are not a family resource, my sister said. Honey, I love you, but you crossed a line. We ended up snapping at each other and hanging up. I felt so attacked. Like everyone was more concerned about imaginary lines than the fact that my own child had blown up something that'd have been amazing for all of us. That weekend, Muggan called as promised. I braced myself. Her voice was calm, almost eerily so. I want to explain a few things, she said, and then I need you to listen without interrupting. I agreed, even though my instinct was to argue. First, she said, I had to spend hours on the phone with the airline and hotel programs to make sure all the points you used were properly refunded. Some of them weren't. The hotel chain had already processed some of the nights, and they refunded them as lower value certificates instead of full points. So I actually lost value because of this. Not a ton, but enough to be annoying. I didn't know that would happen, I said quietly. I know you didn't, she said. That's part of the problem. You had no idea what you were doing with my account and you did it anyway. Second, I had plans for those points. Real, long-term plans. I have been saving them for years for something important. You never told me, I said. She gave a little humorless laugh. Because you never asked. You didn't even ask if I had any use for them before deciding they were just sitting there. What were you saving them for? I asked, genuinely curious. She hesitated, then said, I was saving them for a honeymoon. I was stunned. A honeymoon? Yes, she said. Daniel and I have been talking seriously about getting engaged in the next year. We were planning to use those miles and hotel points for a special trip. Probably Japan and maybe somewhere else in Asia. That's what I've been working towards. Every miserable red-eye, every delayed connection, I told myself. This will be worth it when I can take the trip I really want one day. I knew about Daniel, of course. They've been together a while. But I didn't realize it was that serious, and they certainly hadn't involved us in any wedding plans. That stung a bit, though I pushed it aside. You never said you were saving them for a honeymoon, I protested weakly. That's the whole point, she said. You never asked. You looked at numbers on a screen and decided you knew what was best for them. For me, without having the slightest clue what I wanted. I latched onto what felt like a small victory. Well, you got the miles back after you cancelled, so you can still use them for your honeymoon, I said. So what did this solve, other than humiliating your own mother? It showed me what I'm dealing with, she said flatly. It showed me that if I leave any access to my financial or quasi-financial accounts lying around, you will feel entitled to use them for the family at your discretion. That is not acceptable to me. You make it sound so sinister, I said, hurt. I wasn't trying to rob you. I was trying to bring everyone together. I thought you'd appreciate not having to spend your own money on flights for once. That's not your decision to make, she said. That's the core issue. You don't seem to understand consent when it comes to adult children and their lives. Using my miles, using my time, even using my future honeymoon plans, you see them as part of a pool you can draw from whenever it suits you because we're family. Because we are family, I said. I don't understand this mentality of mine when it comes to your parents. When your father and I were your age, we didn't nickel and dime what we did for our parents. We didn't draw up contracts about every little thing. That's because your parents respected basic boundaries, she said. They didn't log into your accounts and spend your resources without asking. You don't know that, I muttered. Times were different. She sighed. Mom, listen, you didn't just spend my points. You showed me that you think you have access to whatever I have whenever you decide you want it. That terrifies me. Because if you think miles are fair game, what about my emergency fund, my retirement accounts, my house someday? That is so extreme, I said. I would never touch your bank account. But you don't see that this is the same principle, she said. To me, there's no meaningful difference. It's all value I earned that you took control of without my say. I was taking control. I was organizing a trip, I said. I did the work. I dealt with the bookings, the planning. You didn't have to lift a finger. And you took over my account to do it, she said. That's the problem, not a bonus. I was quiet, strung. So here, where I'm at, Megan continued. I've changed all my passwords, every single one. I've removed any saved logins from your devices. I've taken you and Dad off as authorized users on my credit card that I never even gave you anyway, just in case. I've removed my information from the family Amazon and any shared accounts. That is overkill, I said, angry again. You're treating me like a criminal. I'm treating you like someone with poor boundaries, she said. I also need some space. I'm not going no contact, I'm not cutting you off. But I am going to be lower contact for a while, less sharing, less day-to-day involvement. I need to feel like my life is my own, not an extension of yours. So I'm being punished, I said. It's not about punishment, she replied. It's about protection. This is what I have to do to feel safe with my own mother not dipping into my stuff. You're blowing this way out of proportion, I said, swallowing hard, over a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, she said. You knew full well that it wasn't your account, you chose to use it anyway. We went in circles for a while, me saying I was only trying to help. Her saying my help is intrusive and on my terms. Me saying she's valuing points over people. Her saying I'm using family as an excuse to ignore autonomy. Eventually she said, I'm getting nowhere here, I've said what I needed to say, I love you. But I'm also very hurt and very angry, I need time. So you're not coming for Memorial Day? I asked, panicking a little because now it was affecting other plans. I don't know yet, she said, I'll let you know closer to the date. We hung up with it, not really resolved. That was a month ago. Since then Megan has been distant, short texts, no normal chit-chat. She used to send photos from her trips, now I see them on Instagram like everyone else. I found out through Facebook that she and Daniel went ring shopping, one of those we said yes to the ring posts. I had to hear from my sister of all people that Megan told her before telling me directly. Ryan, who initially was very on my side, has cooled a bit after talking to Megan. He came over last week and said, Mom, just so you know, please don't ever log into my stuff either. Bank, rewards, anything. I was offended, I have never touched your accounts. Yeah well, he said awkwardly, this whole points thing freaked Meg out and honestly freaked me out a little too. So just, yeah, don't. After everything I've done for you too, I said. You really think I'd rob my own children? It's not about robbing, he said. It's about asking, I love you but she's not totally wrong about the boundary thing. I felt completely alone. Even Robert, who is usually on my side, sat me down and said, You know, honey, I think maybe you messed up here more than you want to admit. How? I demanded. How did I mess up by trying to give my family a vacation? By using points that were just sitting there? By planning everything, putting my own money down so no one else had to do anything? You didn't talk to her first, he said simply. You assumed, and you used her resources to do it, that's the part you have to own. I have owned that, I snapped. I've said I should have asked, I've said that 1,000,000 times in my head, but does that justify her cancelling the whole thing, embarrassing me in front of everyone, acting like I'm some kind of thief, changing all her passwords like I'm a hacker? He just sighed. Just think about it from her point of view, that's all I'm asking. I can see intellectually where she's coming from. I can admit now that I should have had a proper conversation before booking the trip. And that logging into someone else's account, even if you have the password, is maybe not great if they don't know you're doing it. Fine. But I still don't understand the nuclear reaction. I don't understand how cancelling an entire family vacation was supposed to solve anything. She could have talked to me, we could have rearranged things, maybe limited the points used and pitched in more cash. Instead, she punished all of us over what, to me, still feels like a small misstep. I was not trying to exploit her financially. I have never asked her for money. I don't ask her to pay our bills. This was not me draining her savings. This was about using a perk that I honestly believed was part of the shared pool of family resources, especially since those same points had been used for family travel before by her choice, yes, but still. In my mind, it was all under the banner of we help each other. Now my daughter sees me as someone she has to protect herself from. I feel like I've been shoved into the role of villain over a bunch of airline miles. So I don't know, I'm here because my sister half-jokingly said, go ask the internet if you were really that wrong, and now I'm wondering. Was using my child's loyalty points for a family trip, admittedly without asking first, really such an unforgivable thing? Or is Megan overreacting and using this as an excuse to push us away? I was only trying to help. I still can't quite believe this is what broke us.